Good morning, everyone. Last night was the debate, the all-party, all-candidates debate, and, well, they were all on the stage, and it was an absolute mess. It was a disaster. The first 15 minutes were just people talking over each other. It was poorly moderated. The best moderator by far was Rosemary Barton, and everybody else seemed kind of lost, flat-footed, unable to, well, they weren't doing their job properly. Canadians don't debate the way we witnessed last night. They don't generally talk over each other. Everybody gets their chance to speak. We can talk back and forth. Yeah, that's fine. We can have that discord, but there was no 1 minute intro. And usually in a debate, you get 1 or 2 or even 3 minutes of an intro to say to the constituents, this is what my party plans. This is what we think about these core issues. And these are the core issues that we want to put forward in this 3 minutes, because you can't cover everything in 3 minutes. It's really hard. It's really hard. And so that's part of what makes a debate interesting. You only get that amount of time to talk about what you think is important to the constituents. And that was robbed from us last night. Nobody got to see that because that wasn't part of the structure. The structure started with a question, a stacked question to Maxime Bernier, and it was totally random draw. There was no way they could have predicted that was the question that was going to lead the debate. Right. But still, that question started the debate, and then everybody got to debate Maxime Bernier on that answer. So it was a stacked question, and everybody got to debate Bernier on the answer of it. Fine, no problem. You can show your party's platform that way, but it is not a good way for the Canadian population to make up their mind for October 21st. That debate was useless for that. If that's what you're using to make up your mind on October 21st, then, well, good luck. Good luck, because it wasn't a very good show from anybody. It wasn't a good format to highlight a political party's plan. It just wasn't. It was awful. It was awful. And it was awful because, again, Canadians don't debate that way. They don't talk over each other. We're respectful generally, and we allow people time to say what they want to say, and then we can rebut it with what we want to say. And when we've got a leaders debate, 40 seconds just isn't enough time to actually get into anything meaty. And when you put 1 minute and 15 on the clock and there's no rules, or the viewers don't know what the rules are. Like Elizabeth May will have 30 seconds to speak, and then anybody else can jump in, and then Bernier can jump in, and then Trudeau can jump in. There was no rules. It was hard to understand. It was cacophonous. Everybody was yelling. There were certain points where other moderators didn't tell the candidates that nobody could hear them. They would just let them go on for 40 seconds of blah, 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 and you couldn't get anything out of it. There was nothing there because everybody was yelling. And I mean, what do you do there? If you're standing on the debate stage, you either get into the fray because you look weak if you don't, or you stay out of it because, well, you're just adding to the cacophony. So that's a moderator's job. And as I said, Rosemary Barton actually did the moderator's job. She actually did that. Everybody else kind of just let them go. And, well, I say again, if that's what you're using to make up your mind for October 21st, well, it's a useless tool. That debate was very, very poor. So this was my EDA. We were out in the media room last night watching the debate, and it was really fun. The energy in the room was really good. People were, it was like watching a boxing match. It was like, when they said things that mattered, and it was fun. It was really fun, so I had a good time. I had a good time live tweeting it. I would have liked to have live tweeted on my campaign account, but I guess that's not possible because I'm still locked, and I'm still locked. Elections Canada has called me. They're investigating this. But I think it's inappropriate. Anyway, regardless, this is about the debate. So it didn't take long. I thought Mr. Blanchette was pretty funny. His like the tiny biceps thing, and there's a couple other things he got in there. Jagmeet Singh at the beginning took a hit at Mr. Bernier saying that your tweets are awful and you shouldn't be on the stage, et cetera, et cetera. And I disagree. I mean, nobody wants Jagmeet Singh to be deciding who gets a platform and who doesn't get a platform. That is not the job of the government. If you're inciting violence, if you're saying that group of people should be hurt, then we need to talk because that's against the law. But everything else, we need to have the conversation. If you can't identify a problem, if you can't say this group of people, because sometimes it is a group of people, sometimes a group of people coordinate together. Sometimes that happens. My goodness. And if you can't identify it, you can't solve the problem. It seems very simple. And hate speech, Mr. Jagmeet Singh, is a matter of perspective. He's spoken at Khalistani separatist parades. He's spoken there. From India's perspective, that could potentially be classified as hate speech. It's hypocritical. Okay, so it's ridiculous. He's doing the holier than thou thing when he has some potential for blowback on speech that he's spoken, depending on your perspective. Hypocrite. Okay, so I came back here as well. I wondered how long, and I should have taken a poll for how long it would take for Stephen Harper to get the blame. And Stephen Harper's ghost made a whole bunch of appearances during this debate. It was incredible how many times it was Stephen Harper's fault. It's really, really funny. Like, how could it be Stephen Harper's fault? We've had 4 years of a liberal majority, right? With a strong environmental mandate, and yet we're still discharging sewage into the waterways, right? And then the 4-minute thing, like the format was such that nobody had any idea what was going on. It was like being in a washing machine. It's like, okay, you get to answer this stacked question, Mr. Bernier. Now everybody gets to attack you on this question, Mr. Bernier. Now there's 4 minutes for everybody to debate, or for you to debate this one thing with everybody else. Go. And then everybody yells at each other. And it's like, what? What is happening? It was awful. It was awful. The amount of times that the Greens agreed with the NDP, or the NDP agreed with Andrew Scheer, or Andrew Scheer agreed with the NDP was incredible. Like, oh, I know we agree. And oh, thank you for speaking about that. And yes, all of that stuff, I thought it was really funny. Blanchette was funny too when Jagmeet Singh was saying we need to share the hydroelectricity, etc. And he said, and Blanchette says, no, the hydro belongs to Quebec. Wonderful. I thought it was so funny just because Mr. Blanchette, I believe, views himself as the leader of an independent Quebec. And in that capacity, he was negotiating with 4 other potential prime ministers, or 5 other potential prime ministers, right? So he was saying clearly to Scheer, no, this is not how you do it. And he was saying to Bernier, yeah, I'm up for renegotiation of the equalization payments, but we need to make sure it's fair per capita, because he said that per capita Quebec receives the least amount of equalization payments. So, and I haven't looked into that. That may be true or not. I'm not sure. The murdered and missing women and girls brought up. Nobody spoke to it. I thought that was kind of funny. A slogan is not a plan, he says Justin Trudeau to Theresa May. He follows that up with, we put a price on pollution. I mean, really, it's so laughable. It's so funny. And Greens constantly saying that their plan is costed and passed by a certain regulatory body, but then at the same time ignoring the fact that it's got a big fat fail from the PBO, the Parliamentary Budget Office, right? Hilarious. Bernier made a few good points. Spending doesn't create wealth. You can't spend your way to prosperity, says Bernier. And there's a bunch of times where I thought Bernier made good points, but again, it just got lost in the washing machine, which is exactly why they did this debate in this way. That's why. And it just kind of washes everything through. Like, it's too fast to really make a lasting impression, right? They talked about the housing crisis. Nobody talked about the causes, which was not surprising. Blanchette called out Scheer on Bill 21 in Quebec. He said, will you follow through on that French promise? And there was more to the debate. As I've said, it was like a washing machine. It was pretty wild. Here is Mr. Singh saying to Mr. Bernier that he doesn't deserve a platform. I'm not going to play it, but I just wanted to point out how hypocritical it is. Hypocritical. Okay, here is the Maxime Bernier second in favorable sentiment towards politicians at the debate. Source, Global News. And, I mean, that's interesting. Jagmeet Singh did well. I mean, he speaks nice words, as he said of Trudeau, but the reality is his policies would absolutely decimate Canada's economy, and I think that everybody agrees on that. Here's the Google Trends. The Google Trends for Saskatchewan and British Columbia, Nova Scotia, Alberta, New Brunswick. I don't know why just those. Maybe that's just where 1 to 5 of 9 subcategories. So that's all the provinces. But look at that. Look at that purple line. Look at that purple line. More importantly, look at those 3. 1, 2, 3. Who's splitting what vote now? Right? Is the right splitting? I don't think so. I think you're looking at the center, and you're looking at the right, and you're looking at the left. Right? That's what it looks like to me. So, the debate was a mess. It was a washing machine of don't let anybody land any strong punches. Give Jagmeet Singh a few extra minutes to make him sound extra nice, and make sure he says nice, flowery words just like Trudeau used to say, right? Singh said often, he says nice words, but that doesn't mean blah, blah, blah. Very interesting to watch. I don't think it changed many votes. I don't think there was a big headline other than the headlines that they wanted to make. And ultimately, I think that you have to make up your own mind. But the good news is that, I mean, people are at least looking the party up. People are at least, if you've never heard of the party at all, and Mr. Bernier encouraged some people to go and check out the website, well, that's a positive thing. That's a positive thing, and that's encouraging. So thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to vote. Voting day is October 21st. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.